This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Skip Monty.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast. So I am pretty psyched today because we've got a very interesting guest with us here in the studio, and I'm sure you'll be just as excited as I am to meet and talk with them because today I have the pleasure of introducing your good neighbor, Miss Petrova Jones, who is the owner-operator of Photography by Petrova. Petrova, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and welcome to everybody else for joining us on the show.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, we're excited. I'm sure our listeners are super excited to learn more about you and your business. So if you don't mind, why don't you start us off by telling us what you do?
Yeah, so I run a custom photography business. What that basically means is as a photographer, I customize my sessions to the client, to their needs. My specialty is landscape and conservation work. And because of that, it's brought me to some really remote and unique locations, such as the Arctic, the Antarctic, really kind of odd places, I guess I would say. Most places that people don't choose to vacation. And I go there a lot of the time, once or twice a year for grant work for conservation, climate change photography. But I kind of use my skills that I've gained there back here at home by being able to really customize sessions with my clients. One of my specialties is using outdoor lighting and working with the elements to really capture the essence of the people and the clients that I have in front of me. So instead of using a studio with all artificial lighting, I really have gotten to know the local areas, the best places to go to capture natural photography with families and kids. And I also work full time as, a teacher as well. So that gives me kind of like a little insight into working with the little ones to kind of capture those moments. So things don't look posed. Things are much more natural. And so I take a lot of pride in trying to customize the experience for my families and give them something that, they would love to be able to capture, but it's difficult. Oftentimes they're the ones behind the camera, or, it's just difficult when you're mom telling your little one to smile. And of course they're giving you that really awkward grin. So that's what I do here. Everything from portraits to graduations to engagements, babies, anything really photography wise, I can do for clients here.
Awesome. Very interesting. So, Petrova, how did you, tell us about your journey. How did you get into this business?
Growing up in Europe, my brother was an architect, and he was into architectural photography. And so from a young age, I would kind of follow in his footsteps and learn the elements of design and how to capture images. And even though architecture wasn't so much my passion, I did learn also the passion of capturing that moment in time, and the beauty of being able to really capture that, and composition in photography. And he traveled extensively, which I think also kind of created this travel bug within me. So at first, most of my jobs have been, like I was saying, conservation work and travel related. Like I recently did a survey of the Great Barrier Reef with the coral bleaching effects. I just came back from the Arctic. I was working with the Sami reindeer herders, trying to work with them on some of the issues that they're facing with, climate change issues, and also just getting, their voices heard. There's been a lot of issues that they've been facing. So some of my work has been documentary. Some of it has just been awareness, but trying to get awareness through an image has been kind of my passion, where photography has been concerned. And then, bringing that back home in a practical sense, it gives me a lot of skills that I can offer a client that, a photographer that hasn't maybe had to, hike through blizzards and climb up glaciers and different things. They may not have the same resume,
Fascinating. The Arctic. Wow.
Yes. I just came back from that, and it was epic, as always. But quite different this year than it had been in the past. It was really warm, actually. So,
Wow.
yeah,
In the Arctic.
this year was,
So,
yeah.
how many times have you been there?
How many times have I been? I think a total of 7 at this point.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. I'm so jealous. I love to travel as well. And
Oh,
that
wow. Yeah.
sounds amazing. Well, and of course, your business is very unique. Or is unique. I don't know if you can be very unique. You're unique. Are there any myths or misconceptions in the photography business, or particularly in what you do?
I think as a photographer, I don't see a lot of women in the field, and so I would encourage anybody out there. Like I said, I teach young students, and I do get the question a lot of the time. Can women be photographers and go out there and do what you do? And of course, I mean, outside of just portrait photography and more family-based photography, I don't see a lot of women doing expedition style, which is kind of what I do as well, style photography. But I always tell, my students and anybody who asks, why not? This is absolutely a career and a field that anyone can get into. But I do feel like it is a misconception that it is, not for women because maybe it's not safe. Maybe it's a little bit more rugged or a little bit more dangerous. Or you have a lot of gear to carry. So that's been one misconception or myth I've had to work through. I've showed up to jobs before and had people look at me and ask, where's the male photographer?
Wow.
And this has been in jobs overseas, in other countries where I've been working, because of the expectations, I think, of the type of job. So regarding with what I do, that would be one of the biggest myths and misconceptions. I think with regards to customers, I think when you're dealing with customers, I think one of the myths is that when you're purchasing photographs or when you're doing a photo shoot, that you have to buy packages of photos. And I personally feel that, if you're doing a great job with a customer, you should, like, for example, when I do a shoot, I will do a shoot for an hour with a customer, and I'll give him everything that I took in that hour that is good, not like the throwaways. But in my opinion, if you have 50 images that are beautiful, what are you going to do with them, And so I feel like a lot of the time, I think one of the misconceptions that should possibly be looked at is, can we work a little bit better with consumers to give them more images from sessions? And I think that a lot of the time we're getting nickel and dimes, and that's one thing I don't want to do. I like to give my customers a nice experience where everything is customized and they get their day's shoot or their moment, back.
Wow. I'm telling you, I am so fascinated. You mentioned the misconception of female photographers. I actually interviewed a wedding photographer several weeks ago who came here from Moscow, was Russian, and she went to school in New York, photography school, to be a war photographer, and she was a war photographer for about 20 years, and she had a friend who said, hey, can you shoot my wedding? And she said, sure, in my spare time I'll do this. And she did, and fell in love with it. So now she's a wedding photographer. And she had fascinating stories of shooting, all over the world in war-torn countries. And so great example of another female photographer, doing amazing things.
Absolutely. Wow.
So outside of work, Petrova, what do you do for fun? Take pictures probably, right?
Well, I am a musician as well, so I love to write music. I love to sing, play my instruments, and I love gardening. That's probably one of my favorite things here when I'm rooted here in my home. Take great pride in my garden, and just love being outside. I like the outdoors, like nature. So
awesome. What instruments do you play?
Play piano. I play guitar, electric. I play cello, violin, viola. I play basically all the string instruments, classical string instruments, all of the, guitar instruments, bass as well, drums, and then ukulele, banjo, and then I sing.
Wow. Well, I was admiring all the violins, and that's not an Olympic bass behind you, is it?
There is a bass and an electric guitar and an acoustic electric guitar.
Well, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Guitar. This is my my cup. Well, you can't see it, but it's a giant pick. Anyway,
I see
I
it.
play guitar. I'm a music nut as well. So wonderful.
Yeah, I'm in my music room right now, so it's where I teach virtually from when I have to do virtual lessons. So this works well, you know.
Awesome. I am so impressed. Well, let's switch gears for just a second. Can you describe a hardship or a life challenge, whether professionally or personally, that you've overcome and how it made you stronger when you came out the other side?
Yeah, this is, back to kind of talking a little bit about, I guess, some of the inspiration of what drove me into photography was my brother. And, he probably didn't realize it at the time, but he really shaped a lot of my path with photography. And unfortunately, he passed away about 12 years ago now. He passed away from lymphoma. And I was there when he passed away. And it was like about a year and a half of really difficult, just seeing him going downhill, and I think that sudden loss, and I had just had my son, and there was a lot of things happening, life changes, you have birth, and then you have this sickness diagnosis, and I think it made me really think about life in a different way, because I realized that I did have this passion inside of me, and I already had a full-time business, but I didn't feel that I had time necessarily to commit to the photography again. But when I really started looking at things, doors started opening, and it's hard running two businesses, but I've slowly now been able to grow the photography business, to just under full-time. I mean, it could be full-time if I allowed it to be, because my brother kind of has motivated me, even though he's not here anymore, but to follow my passions, which have always been music and photography. And so I have found kind of a balance, I think, now, between the two businesses and my two passions. And I'm really, really grateful for that, because the times where I do get to travel, that's great. It's a great way for me to clear my head and to come back fresh and better for everybody. Better as a teacher, better as a mom, better as a wife, better as a friend, and also to do the work I want with conservation and awareness. So I think that would probably be the one moment that kind of did spiral the change, for me to look at my schedule and realize I need to make time for that.
Well, I'm sure your brother's looking down, very proud of you. I'm sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Petrova, if you could think of one thing that you would like our listeners to remember about photography by Petrova, what would that be?
I would like them to just remember that photography by Petrova is unique. I am not a typical photography shop or business. My goal is to work with individuals and to customize my sessions and what I offer my clients, because I realize that everybody is unique and everybody deserves a custom experience.
Awesome. Great thing to remember. All right. Well, for those of us who are interested in learning more about what you do and seeing some of your work, how can they learn more?
Yep. So you can visit me. I'm on Instagram. Photography by Petrova is on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, Photography by Petrova. I have a YouTube channel as well that I try to release every Tuesday, a new video, and also Photography by Petrova. And then my website is www.photographybypetrova.com as well. And I also have a retail store attached to that website if people are interested as well.
Very cool. Yeah. All right. Well, Petrova, fascinating interview. You're a fascinating person with it sounds like a wonderful life. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us and tell us about you and your business, and wish you and your family and Photography by Petrova all the best moving forward.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time as well.
Awesome. Maybe we can have you back sometime.
That'd be great. I would love it.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnptry-cities.com. That's gnptry-cities.com or call 423-719-5873.